Hey guys, sorry about that. That was a little long of a wait. Um, Usually I stream like pretty early in the morning, like after I wake up. So I have some stuff to do before I start streaming usually. That's why I took a little while. Anyway, how you guys doing? Welcome back to another stream. This is not on the FNaF Marathon. This is another FNaF Theory reaction stream. I think I'm just starting to do these more often. You guys seem to like them, so I think it makes sense to do them. And plus, I very rarely watch FNaF Theory videos, so I think it makes more sense to do it on stream because you guys like it, I enjoy doing it, and it gives me a chance to actually watch them. Because, like I said, I usually don't watch them, and I feel like I should, so. Your dad got you a bigger monitor, now you're much bigger. Alright. Nice. So today I have about 5-ish hours to stream, a little less now because it's now been like 12 minutes. But I should probably stop streaming around 4, but if I finish reacting to all the theories before like 3:30-ish, then I'm probably gonna end there because I have my next theory video, not the one that's coming out tomorrow, the one after that. I've now finished the script, so I want to record that before I leave because I have work at 4:30. So, Nightmare Shadow Freddy, yeah. So, I'm gonna pull up all 3 of the theories that I want to watch today. Probably just the 3. I don't think I'll do more than that. So, hey, it's invincible. So we're watching Fredden, Silverlooked character. Nice. Keep dreaming. Sure. Why not? Okay. So that's 1. We are also watching Hyperdroids FNaF 1 theory. I'm doing this because Freb suggested it, so thanks, Freb. There we go. It's that one. And we're gonna watch Heidi's Fantasy. One of her videos that came out a few months ago. This one. Cool. Okay, so which one do we watch first? I'm gonna make a poll, actually. What's your opinion of the organ theory? What is that? Whoops, wrong thing. Okay, I'm gonna make a poll. One. Okay. I've created the poll. Start voting. I will say, I'm gonna do Hyperdroids and ID's Fantasies back to back. So whichever one wins, if it's one of those, then I'm gonna do the other one right after. So I'm not really into FNaF VHSs. You need me to watch the FNaF 1 video first. Why? I'm watching all 3 today. I don't know. Why does it make a difference which one I watch first? So far, FNaF 1 is not winning. Alright, guys. Make sure you all vote. We'll see which one we end up watching. Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys were there for yesterday's stream, but basically, I'm making another video on the Wizards because there's a lot of arguments in the comments of the last one that I kind of want to address. I want to address just because I feel like if I don't, then a lot more people will just, like, not change their minds. And some people might still not. Like, it doesn't really matter that much, but I just want to make sure people recognize that I'm actually acknowledging this stuff rather than just ignoring it. So that's my next theory video. So tomorrow I'm releasing a FNaF 4 theory, and then that one will be the next one, coming out probably the 22nd. That's my current plan, but I haven't recorded or edited it yet, so it depends how long that takes me. And my next theory after that will be a FNaF 2 theory. So that's why I'm watching these 3 videos today, because they all deal with topics that intrigue me and make me think maybe I can get inspired a little bit with them. So yeah, that's why I'm watching all 3 of them today. The Heidi's Fantasy one I've been meaning to watch for a long time. I just haven't gotten around to it for some reason. It came out, excuse me, when did it come out? August 9th, damn. And it's now January 16th. Okay. I'm going to wait for just a couple more votes. But in the meantime, I just want to say, yesterday, there was a Resident Evil showcase. And it was, hello? Oh. What just happened? You guys can see me, right? We're still good? There was a little cut. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Like, my stream kind of disconnected for a second. Oh, it's lagging now, too. Am I lagging? What's going on? Hold on. Looks like there was a little bit lag. Should be good now. I don't know what happened. It just, like, on my streaming software, it said that like that there was no data and that I needed to connect to the stream in order for it to continue. And I was like, what? I didn't disconnect anything. So, like, it just, like, kind of cut for a second. I don't know what happened there. And then yeah, I was checking and it said there was a little bit of lag there. So. Should be fine now, though. If that happens again, just let me know. Snowby doing numbers on the internet. Well, it did me well yesterday. Today, I just don't have school. For reference, yesterday I had school, but I had... yesterday I had school. But it was a snow day, so I didn't go. Muted? Nothing. I'm not muted. There's no reason you guys shouldn't be able to hear me. Yeah. No, I'm not muted. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, today and it said I don't know what happened. Like, what? Yeah, I'm not muted. I'm not muted. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys aren't muted? Don't have me muted? I think it might be you guys. But yeah, I'm definitely not muted, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. You know what's funny? I started this stream 21 minutes ago and haven't started doing anything, and it still has more views than like a Walking Dead or Resident Evil stream would have by this point. by the end of the stream, I mean. There's no audio, but I guess it's a me problem. It's definitely a you problem, considering I checked the stream, it was perfectly fine. Other people are saying it's fine. Might just be because it cut out for a second. Maybe it's just glitching for you because, like, you were here when it glitched out. If you were, at least. I don't know. Better after refreshing. Alright. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. Looks like the winner was the Fred in Theory, so we're going to watch that, then Hyperdroid, then Heidi's Fantasy. So just in that order, basically. Okay. So everything should be good. I think I should be ready. Overlooked character. Put it right down there. And I think we're ready to go. Are you trying to be Matt Pat? No, I'm trying to be Impulse Evan, actually. So. There we go. This is the overlooked... Sorry. This overlooked character just solved FNaF. This is 56 minutes long, so this is going to take a while. Anyway, let's go.
Reddit posts got made on the
Weird
subject
cut,
of whether
but okay.
or not he's ever retconned his story. Quote, the truth is that I've done one actual retcon in the series, although I'm not going to say where it was. There have been other times, however, when my original intentions didn't come across clearly. In those instances, I make a point to clarify in the next game.
There's been a single detail that Scott has been trying to show us that we completely missed. A detail that solves not only the Scott Games era, but gives us a baseline for what's happening now. And it all relates to Toy Chica.
Okay. If you say so, man.
I'll admit it. My last video was entirely wrong. Yeah,
Oh.
Sorry, I thought I knew the plot of FNaF 2. I mean, it's basic, right? A story about a set of 5 kids killed by William to close down a Freddy's that really has nothing to do with the plot. Or at least that's what I thought until December 5th, 2025. The release of the FNaF 2 movie has been interesting. And no, I'm not saying the movie solves FNaF 2. Just stick with me here. You see, this movie is getting hit hard with negative reviews about the plot being nearly incomprehensible, and while that may be true, I think this movie was designed to be. I think what we have here is a Trojan horse. It sounds insane, but
if Bernard and McDavid had
I know it's a 56 minutes video, so this is probably going to happen a few times. But it's fine. You know what? We like supporting Fred. So,
beautiful.
I am skipping the fat part, sorry.
hear me out. Spoilers for the FNaF 2 movie, by the way.
Obviously.
Once again, before you type away any, oh brother, this guy's trying to use the movies for lore, this idea is completely reproducible in the games, which I will talk about later in the video, so hold your pitchforks and hear me out. The FNaF 2 movie has a lot of scenes that seem strange or put in for specific reasons that don't benefit the plot. For example, in the middle of the movie, Vanessa is told by Mike to try out Dream Theory from the last film to deal with the guilt of her father. When she does, she gets put into a flashback memory, much like Mike in the first film, only here it's a complete nightmare. She's being chased down by her father, William Afton, as he screams at her, definitely showing you his abusive nature towards his kids. But here's when things get downright insane. She walks into his workshop where she sees blueprints for the toy animatronics, calling them 3.0s of something. And next
That doesn't
to these
really look like
blueprints,
Toy Freddy.
I cannot emphasize enough, spoiler warning for the film, she sees Circus Baby in his workshop with Baby's possessed green eyes. I was in shock. I had no idea what this could possibly mean. We are being told two contradictory pieces of information. Why does William Afton not only have the blueprints of the toys, but a possessed circus?
Are we sure that's Toy Freddy? That looks like classic Freddy to me. I don't know. I mean, the hat looks more like Toy Freddy's. The rest looks like regular Freddy. Are we sure this is Toy Freddy? Are we sure? Because doesn't Toy Freddy have buttons? I think Toy Freddy has buttons. This Freddy does not have buttons. And I don't see any cheeks. This looks like regular Freddy. There's something I'm missing here. This looks like regular Freddy, doesn't it? I don't know.
Circus Baby in his office. What are we being told? Well, it became so much clearer when I analyzed everything with a closer look. You see, the FNaF 2 game has what the community considers one of the most interesting minigames of all of FNaF. Most agree this minigame means really nothing and isn't too important, but that's where I'm here to argue otherwise. Completely. I believe Scott has been trying to tell us that this is one of FNaF's most important moments for years. He's been trying to make it clear since the very game it appears in that something was up, and it all spawns from one seemingly insignificant detail. Toy Chica.
Red plus blue. And in Pomni, we...
The minigame I'm talking about is called Save Them. In the minigame, you play as Withered Freddy, wandering around the restaurant surrounded with dead bodies of children. The community has dubbed these children as the DCI. There's a rare Easter egg you can get of William Afton appearing and approaching Withered Freddy to instantly end it, and it all seems pretty clear what's happening. William kills these kids and deactivates a possessed Withered Freddy when he sees them, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that you have had this minigame completely wrong. Because in the minigame, as Withered Freddy, you can approach the toys on stage. And there's an interesting scene here. A kid's body with his blood all next to Toy Bonnie, and Toy Chica missing her beak. When I tell you this discovery made my jaw drop because of one reason. We know why Toy Chica loses her beak. Let's go back to the scene in the movie with Vanessa. Remember how the blueprints for the toys were on William Afton's work table along with an unpainted Toy Bonnie head? Well, it's for a specific reason, because thanks to other YouTubers who visited the set early, we can actually read what these blueprints say. The first we get is Toy Freddy. Specific things to note about it is that he has padding on his feet, presumably to make his footsteps quieter. Someone can remotely access his mic, and pulling his bow tie opens his stomach to release something. What it releases is strangely redacted, but looking at Toy Chica is where things get a little bit clearer. In her blueprints, we can point out two extremely peculiar things. Reading through it, things start out normal as well. It just seems to be describing Toy Chica's design until we get into her beak. For some reason, her animatronic is purposefully designed for its beak to be removable. That's not the only peculiarity. That's not the only thing that's strange, because her waist is noted to be painted hot pink as if it is plastic. What does that mean? As if? Aren't the toys all plastic? Well, apparently at least Toy Chica isn't. And then her cupcake has a note for its light saying light to never go out, so Toy Chica has a self-sustaining power source in her that comes from something. Well, let's put the information we're given together. By the way, Toy Bonnie's blueprints are practically unreadable. We learned that the toys are developed by William Afton in his workshop with features that include, and are not limited to, having padding on their feet to make their footsteps silent, one of them having a literal stomach hatch that can open, and Toy Chica having a removable beak and self-sustaining power source. And need I mention that right next to the development of the toys is Circus Freaking Baby, and let me freaking repeat this for you, they are being made by William Afton. Now, guys, I don't know about you, but these design features are something to be curious about. They are literally a shopping list of different ways you can hide the fact that these robots weren't made to just entertain kids. No, I'm telling you that the movie sets these guys up to be murder bots. That's not all, because this film even affects our little
Yeah, I do agree with that. But I think the main thing is, I think the main thing to suggest that is that they're meant to be like they're meant to kind of emulate the Twisted ones, because like the first movie is very similar to the Silver Eyes story, and this movie is very similar to the Twisted ones. In this case, they're both the toys and the Twisted ones are both controlled by one entity while they are inside an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Yeah, they're both made by William Afton, and they're both Springlock suits, right? So I do agree with that. Yeah.
Balloon Boy. We get
whether that
interesting
applies to the
choice
games
for
or not
Balloon Boy
is
in the film when it's revealed
questionable,
he has
but
cameras in his eyes along with every toy, and his sound design is changed from a simple laugh to actually disorientating a person. Now, I know what you're going to say. Balloon Boy does that as a security measure, and yes, that's fair. Maybe Balloon Boy isn't exactly the best killbot in the movie, despite the fact he was literally going to kill Mike in the river, but when we get to the games, the evidence is undeniable.
You. Just you.
Well, let's take a closer look at FNaF 2 and really think about what we see and are being told. Well, the first extremely strange thing about this game is the building. Now, to quote Josh Hutcherson, what idiot designed this place? Listen, this building is a mess, and I don't even want to get into how it doesn't have a kitchen, but Phone Guy directly calls out the new modern design of the building, so that means it's at least a little different than what it looked like before. But what was the point of changing what it looked like? Well, what if I were to tell you that some of these design choices are worthy of being curious about, and you actually look at the most glaring problem during the entire game, a long hallway with party rooms that include only one exit. Only one way out. Not like that could trap anyone inside a room. I mean, you would have to be an immovable object that could wander around the restaurant at will and go to any of these exits and block them off, and the idea of that is just ridiculous. Phone Guy then goes on to tell us that the animatronics can walk around freely during the day. Oh, okay. That doesn't sound like... I mean, these animatronics are all clunky, you know? They move pretty slow, and overall, like, come on. You can just maneuver around Freddy Fazbear, right? Phone Guy then goes on to tell you that these new animatronics have advanced mobility. Yeah, so if I'm 5 years old, I'm screwed. One thing you'll learn about Fazbear Entertainment is while what they say seems truthful, there's nearly always a darker secret hiding beneath it. For evidence for that, look no further than FNaF 1, where Phone Guy, hey look, it's the same guy, makes references to things like night guards not lasting as long as you. You know, because they're dead, and the animatronics not having a proper night mode, being the reason they wander into your office, they are possessed. So usually when Phone Guy tells you something, you should not take it at face value. So when in the first game, Phone Guy tells you that new animatronics have been developed and have advanced mobility and a criminal database, and that the place you are currently in is the safest place on Earth, and that these animatronics go to rooms making the most noise, you know, birthdays filled with children, maybe all of those statements have a darker undertone, and of course they do. You know that because over the course of these 5 nights, you learn a little something about each of these toy animatronics. The first thing you learn is that over the night, each one of them has something that happens to their eyes for some reason. Toy Freddy's eyes go black, Toy Chica gains pinpoint wide eyes, and for some reason that I can't even explain in this video, Toy Bonnie's eyes just straight up shrink. Don't ask me why he can do that, but that's
They
not
do?
where all their interesting features end. You'll also learn that they jump at you. I guess that's the advanced mobility at work. Toy Chica, much like the movie, has a removable beak. Again, why would Toy Chica have a removable beak? And why would this feature not be carried on to the classic animatronics? In fact, Scott Cawthon in the Doco interview said that this was to represent her attack mode. So, interesting. The most interesting character here is Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy, when he gets into your office, disables your flashlight somehow. Maybe he can just disable electronics, which is pretty suspicious. And
Like
he
the Mimic,
causes
kind
a
of.
lot of noise.
Probably.
In fact, his noise is covered up by the fact that it is children's laughter. What do you know about the toys? That they will go to any room where the most noise is being made. So I wonder why Balloon Boy can do that. I also wonder why he gives out balloons to children. Maybe there's a combo thing going on here, but I'll save that for a little later. Now, that all sounds suspicious, right? I mean, even without
I mean,
the
Balloon
idea
Boy
these
is
bots
one of
being
the toys,
possessed,
so.
why the freak can they do that? I mean, there's no universe, and I'm going to repeat this so it's hammered in your head, where Toy Chica's beak should be removable. But I get it. You need even more proof, and I am so happy to provide it to you. Let's go ahead and take a look at a game that unexpectedly has a lot of ties to FNaF 2. Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location.
Okay.
Sister Location is seen by many as
I mean,
a
I
hidden-
assume he's just going to say because the toys in the movie were made to kill, that connects them to the fun times who were made to kill, or something like that.
pivotal shift in the tone of FNaF. Gone were the days of possessed robots, and in were the days of possessed robots.
Yeah, they're
but
still
this
possessed.
time, 10-ton killing machines built to kidnap children. But I'm going to argue there was never a change. And what Scott was doing was rectifying something we'd missed multiple times before. That Afton built the toys, and you can actually see the comparison by just looking at the cast of the Fun Times, starting with Funtime Freddy. I mean, look at the visual comparison between the two. Funtime Freddy has two rosy cheeks and a band around his top hat, just like Toy Freddy. But the visual comparisons really come in when you look at Bon Bon. Two rosy cheeks and this light blue coloring are enough for you to notice a comparison, but this comparison is so strong, even the character encyclopedia calls it out. But this next character is the smoking gun, Funtime Foxy. Here we have Funtime Foxy, when literally just a game prior, we are told that Fixed Mangle is named the same exact thing. They are quite literally the same
My FNaF 2 video, I actually talk about this a lot.
exact character existing at two different restaurants. But that's not all, because if you look at all the fun times we've been presented throughout the series, you'll notice something strange. Every toy has a fun time variant. Hell, this even applies to the puppet, because taking a look at the security puppet in FNaF 6, we see that it has this same split face design as the fun times, along with the same general sleekness. Hell, even Egg Baby looks like Balloon Boy, and they both appear in the Sister Location office in UCN. Take a look at Funtime Chica and put her next to Toy Chica, and they are virtually the same character.
Yeah, they are
but
pretty similar.
here's the smoking gun, the thing that ties everything together, and it uses a piece of lore you may have all forgotten. You see, before a new FNaF game would come out, Scott would release teasers on Scott Games to build up hype for it, but he would also include huge lore reveals within them. He at one point conveyed the entire plot point of Circus Baby being kicked out of Innard through just a teaser conversation between two sites, but none of this has been more interesting than what the Sister Location teasers had to say. Now, while theories like T-Dredge's schedule theory have already gone over things like the schedule and the source code, we don't have to worry about that. What we have to look at is this, a list of clients. The first is Chica's Party World, and we'll get into that later, but we know by this time Fazbear Entertainment owns this brand. Next is Private Birthday Bookings, which is most definitely Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals. And finally, we have CRMN _ INST.
Right, yeah.
What? It's
I like that
labeled
one's-
as a project,
nobody ever
meaning
talks
it's
about
in
that one, yeah.
development and isn't actually finished, but what could it be? Well, let's look at the name. CRMN, Criminal INST, Institute. But what could Criminal Institute being a project have to do with Sister Location and Fazbear Entertainment? Unless I were to tell you that we've already seen a Criminal Institute be mentioned
Like the
before.
criminal
and
database kind of
that's
thing?
The criminal database
Yeah,
phone
okay.
guide directly tells us the toys are hooked up to in FNaF 2. This is literally a direct link between the toys and the happenings in Sister Location, and I think it helps lead into the future of the toys we see in FNaF 2. Now let's go back to save them. Remember the unimportant dead kids? Well, why have I been setting up the toys to be killers this whole time? Well, it's to tell you one clean, simple fact. Well, theory fact. That the toys killed the DCI. Yep, these little plastic cuddly creatures aren't so cuddly after all. But I get it. You need more evidence. And hey, don't worry, this video is far from over. And when I'm telling you,
How
you'll be
much more does Doctor?
convinced of
Damn, a
this
lot.
theory by the time the marker
The
hits
novels,
the
okay,
end,
makes sense.
I am telling you that. Also, maybe hit subscribe while you're checking out.
Again, that's partially what my theory will be about too. Hopefully, he doesn't go over everything that I'm going to talk about, because then my video will kind of just be obsolete, and then I just won't make it, I guess.
that runtime. But let's see if we can find.
But I do have a lot to. I do talk about a lot in that video, so I don't. It's not as long as his, obviously, but it's decently long for one of my videos. I think it's probably going to be like 25 minutes or something like that.
Big evidence for
Something
our
like
Killbot
that.
idea here, and that's where you look no further than the novels. In the novel trilogy, we get an interesting book by the name of The Twisted Ones. The Twisted Ones introduces us to a very strange set of new animatronics by the name of the Twisted Animatronics. Basically, they're kidnapping robots that use illusion discs to change their appearance. They use spring locks to capture and kill people, and throughout the novel, they're going after people who look like Charlie. Not only that, but they're entirely creations of Afton. But this book includes some really strange inclusions that may make our theory a bit clearer. You see, closer to the end of the novel, Twisted Freddy kidnaps Charlie and takes her to a strange place. She notes how the pizzeria is basically a different looking Freddy's, but there's two defining things that help us pinpoint exactly what Freddy's location this is supposed to be, and that's the pizzeria being described as having a carousel, and most importantly, Balloon Boy. Oh yeah, also just a literal poster of Toy Freddy. That's right, this novel has Charlie be kidnapped and taken to the FNaF 2 pizzeria. That's not all, however, because this pizzeria was made by William for the Twisteds. So what is literally happening is that William is building kidnap bots that use spring locks to take people to the FNaF 2 pizzeria, which was made by William. But that's not all these novels have to say, because the connections between the toys and their Killbot origins get even more obvious in the fourth closet. The fourth closet has, again, more very interesting things in it, specifically Mangle. This book literally describes Funtime Foxy turning into Mangle. I don't think it gets more obvious than this.
Yeah.
But here's one final note to leave on. Towards the end of the novel, Jessica is kidnapped and taken to Circus Baby's Pizza World, where she meets 4 other kidnapped kids. While these kids were kidnapped by Baby, they have something interesting to say about their kidnapper. She...
Okay. Good time for an ad. I actually got to go for a second. Just for like 2 minutes. I'm just going to pause right here. Okay. I'll be back in like a couple minutes. Don't worry. Alright, we're back. Let's continue watching.
Interesting to say about their kidnapper.
She? Who? The woman who took you?
Jessica asked gently, trying to contain her impatience. Elena shook her head vigorously, her head still hidden.
We thought it was a toy. It wasn't scary like everything else.
William is building kidnapping robots to look like toys to kidnap children outside and take them back to restaurants. In fact, the twisted animatronics were made after the kidnapping baby, and all of this will be very important to keep in mind when I talk about the strangest part of all of this, the ending to the FNaF 2 movie. The FNaF 2 movie ends in an extremely peculiar way. I mean, this ending is so on the nose that I think it's literally trying to tell you something as much as it possibly can. The FNaF 2 movie ends with the toy animatronics making their way to Mike Schmidt's house, and right when they show up, we get a strange reveal that they're now under the control of Michael Afton, trying to continue his father's legacy. Even stranger is that once Michael sets the toys against the Schmidts, the classics come in and destroy the toys. But here's where things are borderline confirmed. Toy Chica is destroyed and her chest reveals spring locks. Yes, this could be to be consistent with Vanessa's line about
Let's also not forget that
having them
the
in
classics
first
destroy
film,
the twisted
but
ones in
considering the toys are literally
book. I assume you'll
paralleling the
bring that up,
twisted
though.
animatronics, them having not only spring locks but their blueprints being filled with killbot functionalities, not to mention a possessed circus baby exists while he works on the toys, much like the twisteds being worked on while there was a possessed baby. Everything is connecting the toys to being the twisted animatronics, which are killbots, even to the point of them directly paralleling the twisted animatronics in the films. However, there's one thing you might be thinking. The toys have spring locks in every other continuity, but how can we prove they have them in the games? And that's where I introduce
We're
you
gonna talk about the
to
Endo
one
2s.
little character by the name of Endo 02. You see, before the release of the second FNaF movie, like usual, Scott was ominously commenting on Daco's stream when he was playing FNaF 2. While most of the things he said didn't mean much, Scott made one interesting comment. No one ever discovered the lore behind Endo 02. At first, I wrote this off as a troll. It didn't mean too much. I mean, what lore could Endo 02 possibly have? Well, let's take a closer look at Endo 02. The limbs have strange rings around them, and there's a strange rib cage, and oh my god. Endo 02 is a spring lock suit, isn't it? Look at the ribcage of Endo 02. It's completely different from Endo 01 and for no particular reason. In fact, the ribs are so strange that the character encyclopedia calls them out with quotation marks, even questioning if they are just ribs, not to mention just comparing them to Springtrap's Endo. I mean, come on. Not only that, but Endo 02 and the spring locks are the only animatronics that have been told to us to walk around during the day. With the connections to the twisted animatronics, it all makes sense. The toys are killing robots that have...
On the end of Endo 02, the little, like, the gray part and then the white and the black, is that actually like a 3D thing? Like, does it actually wrap around? Because I've always thought that it was just like 2D. It was just a rib cage that went out. But does it actually like wrap around like a spring lock Endo? Because that's like what it kind of looks like, but it's hard to tell for sure. So.
Robots that have spring locks used to kidnap children, just like the twisted animatronics, and the toys killed the DCI. But how did they get these kids? Well, that's where I have T-Dreads explain to you the biggest part of this.
Alright, T-Dreads.
Pizzeria Simulator introduced us to many extremely strange things in a game that was supposed to end the story, and most of us left that game with more questions than answers. What the hell were Funtime Chica, Security Puppet, and Egg Baby about? But nothing was stranger than the inclusion of the Midnight Motorist minigame.
Okay.
This minigame has plagued the community for over half a decade now, and sure, some of us
You gonna
think
compare
we know what it's
the
about,
graves?
but nobody can truly be sure. Well, except for MatPat. But what if I were to say that we were all
I wonder if MatPat actually was told what
Midnight
Midnight
Motorist? And this time, it's not clickbait. Let's go over the facts of Midnight Motorist real quick. 1. We play as an orange man driving a purple car on a rainy night, implied to be at midnight due to the name of the game. 2, we aren't allowed to enter a building named Juniors. 3, we have a child that we are abusive towards. 4,
I know what he's gonna say. He's gonna say Juniors is FNaF 2. The grave is from the toys. The toys are going out to murder people. Is he gonna say that Afton is the orange guy though? Because that's what seems to be implied by the purple car and Five Nights at Freddy's. So, if I don't know if that's where he is going. If it's not where he's going, then I find it weird that it wouldn't be Afton considering the purple car and Laps, unless Laps was just wrong. But if that is where he's going, I just find it weird that Afton would be, would send an animatronic to kill his own child. Like, maybe he didn't send it. Is it just, like, on autopilot? I don't know.
Our child ran away to a
I'll
place
see what he
we're
says.
aware of, and 2 footprints stand outside their window. 5, the minigame is titled Later That Night in the game's code. And 6, we can go off-road and visit a mysterious mound that there is no explanation for. First, let's tackle the identity of our player character. We play as the Orange Man, and that is really all we know about him. He lives in a blue house, different from Afton's gray walled house in FNaF 4, and upon entering we can see somebody on the couch in a gray shirt watching TV. Now, if you're new to the series, you might not know this, but there was actually a massive debate over the identity of Orange Guy that's kind of been squashed by 5 Laps at Freddy's. See, right now, everybody says that it's William Afton, but this wasn't common consensus before 5 Laps. I mean, think about it. Our character is orange, not purple. The only real connections to William are that we drive a purple car and possibly have a son who watches television. Join me in a little thought.
Well, and that house is very clearly the FNaF 4
Perhaps
house.
our player character isn't purple
FNaF 4 menu,
because they're
menu
not
house.
the purple guy. This is Orange Guy, a new character, and he's just orange because he's an inversion of William's character, a parent who's also abusive to their child, just not a child murderer. It's taking what we know about William and flipping it on its head. But then, why be shown a new character? If this isn't supposed to be William...
See, I think it very clearly is meant to be William because of what he just said. But the reason I think that he's orange instead of purple is just because, first of all, you wouldn't want to just give away that it's purple guy. But second of all, the reason purple guy is purple is because he's in the shadows. In Midnight Motorist, he's not really in the shadows.
What does our character being abusive tell us? It's all for the runaway. We're being given a reason for the runaway to, well, run away. Why he'd be so willing to leave his house and go back somewhere. Because his home life is awful. But now that we've gotten the biggest thing down, it's time for our second thought experiment.
Watch every... Your mom. And...
Who are the footprints? I'm going to preface the discussion of the footprints by saying one major thing. These footprints do not 100% match up with anybody. In fact, there's not a single animatronic from FNaF 1 to 4 who you can guarantee these footprints belongs to, and with that knowledge, let's analyze feet. The FNaF 1 gang don't make sense. First of all, the feet for almost all of them would make more of a half-clover design, and Chica's would make a sharp sunflower. Moving on to FNaF 2, you get the same issue with the Withers. Their feet do have groves, but the general footprint would be a half-clover design. To be fair and help wanted, we get a full model of Withered Freddy, where we can see 4 circles, right? Well, none of them are raised in a way that would make the footprint pattern we see in Midnight Motorist. Spring Bonnie and Fredbear fall under the same problems as the Withers. As for the
I don't really
classics
think
and nightmares,
that matters that much.
Don't make me laugh.
I think what matters
When
is that
looking at
there's
the
3
fun times,
toes.
only Freddy and Foxy have compatible feet, and even then they have 1 more toe. So where can we find 3 segmented toes with a single base? Well,
The
I think you
toys,
can
yeah, I
pick
guess
up
that's
on
where he's
who
going.
I purposefully left out. The toys. We can rule out Mangle due to her having 3 feet, with 2 of them looking different, but when we get to the other ones, it gets complicated. It could be any of them. Toy Bonnie, Toy Freddy, and Toy Chica. All of these have the same feet, but how can we narrow down which one is outside the window? Well, we have two sources we can look at to solve that question. First, Ultimate Custom Night. Scott has said that he uses the next game.
I personally
to
just think it's
rectify
Shadow
what the community
Freddy.
Misunderstood.
I personally think it's Shadow Freddy. I don't think that the shape of the foot being slightly off matters that much. I think the important the important thing is just that it has 3 toes, so I don't think that really matters.
Scott has said that he uses the next game to rectify what the community misunderstood about the last one. And by the time
I also don't think the toys match better than the other two. Like the toys have very square feet. It's a very weird thing to say, but they have very square feet. The Midnight Motorist one has like more of like an inward thing. Or like it's like thinner at the bottom than it is on the top, you know. So it's like at the back than it is at the front of the foot, right? So I don't think that really matches better than anybody else. I think it matches worse than like the classics and the Wizards, honestly.
Of UCN, most of the community thought Midnight Motorist was about the Aftons. So what are we being told in UCN? Well, when you get a certain high score in UCN, you can get an intermission, either being Bear of Vengeance or Toy Chica the high school years. And for this theory, we're going to take a closer look at Toy Chica the high school years. Each
14.
intermission is hammering home one idea. Toy Chica is luring children to a place where they end up in her backpack. And she always ends every intermission by saying something could be wrong. We, as a community, took this as Toy Chica being a representation of William Afton. But I'm here to say that she isn't. We are literally being shown Toy Chica luring children because Toy Chica literally lured children. In fact, one of her lure tactics matches up almost identically with Midnight Motorist.
I told him to come over later. That should...
Problem with that, one of them matches up perfectly with Susie. So, yeah. Also, she says, I will, she doesn't say I will put it back together. She says, tomorrow is another day, which is a Fredbear plushie quote, implying whoever Toy Chica is the Fredbear plushie, and I doubt the toy animatronics are the Fredbear plushie. So I think it makes more sense to be Afton.